this first show in February 1st, 2021. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, Periscope, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. And if you're listening on Apple Podcast, please leave a rating and review. It will help us out tremendously. And by the way, we have the list of podcasts. If you go to our Linktree, our username is the Sportscast1. You can see all the links to iHeart, to Spotify, to Stitcher, and of course Apple Podcasts. And of course, you can listen to our live radio on thesportscast.net or on our website, thesportscast.net as well, or our app, the Sportscast on iOS, and of course on the sportscast.net. Not only you can listen to our radio, read our latest news on sports and the trades and everything else, what's going on, and of course the offseason of the NFL is kind of already spilling in, even though we have one more game left in the Super Bowl. This episode is brought to you by the Sportscast app. Download the Sportscast. You got the push notifications. You can listen to all our episodes from back to to whatever time. And our 3-year anniversary is actually today. Ryan Christa, a man, the second guy or third guy of the Sportscast. Welcome back.
Santiago, it is good to be here. Happy February.
Happy February. And we'll start off with this news that happened this past weekend, Blockbuster. It is going to be a preview of this insane offseason that the NFL will have. Matt Stafford going to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for the Rams' first-round draft picks in 2022 and 23, and a third-round pick in 2021, and quarterback Jared Goff. What a trade. Confirmed this past weekend. Stafford moves on from a Lions team he struggled to reach the postseason to a Rams team led by Sean McVay, a young Sean McVay, a video game coach that has advanced to at least the divisional round and won Super Bowl in 2 of the last 3 seasons. I want to take Ryan's take on that. It's a pretty massive trade, pretty surprised. Ryan Christa did not know about it till Saturday night. Ryan, what was your first initial thoughts?
Well, I think it was. I knew, obviously, we talked all week about, it was going to happen. The Lions were ready to move on in a new direction, new coach, and kind of looks like they're working on their way to imploding a little bit to revamp their team, because they basically hit the ceiling with Stafford, and Stafford was ready to try to win a championship, and the Rams thought they would probably reach the ceiling with Jared Goff, and it was time to make a move, and that they gave up a lot. Rams to get Matt Stafford, but this team is ready to win. They got Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, but they they need that superstar quarterback they believe to win the Super Bowl, and this is only a couple years late, past Jared Goff getting the largest contract in NFL history. So that's how fast we move in the NFL. You have a very short leash, no matter who you are.
From the comments, YouTube, Mr. Kevin Tyree said the Rams gave up too much. Ryan, that's a question to you. Did the Rams give up too much for a Matt Stafford?
They gave up a lot. That question will be answered if Stafford does. If they get to where they want to get to, then no, they gave up what they want. This is a move to win now. Will there be repercussions? Absolutely. You gave up so many draft picks. You're not going to fill up your draft, your roster, for the future. So you want to win now with, veteran players, and that's what the Rams think they're going to do. So yes, they gave up a lot for the future to win, now, and the Lions are giving up there now to win later.
Matt Stafford, Ryan, of course, traded to the Rams. The Rams want to win a Super Bowl. They just don't want to do it for Facebook likes. Is this the man? I mean, of course, back in Detroit, he didn't have much of an O-line. He got injured a lot. Is this a Matt Stafford like, okay, this guy could win a Super Bowl, but if he's in the right team? If he goes to the Rams, how do you foresee this chemical makeup?
I think it's great. I mean, like you said, you got a genius offensive mind in Sean McVay. They were very successful last year, and I think Jared Goff had a below average year at the same time. He's very inconsistent. So, you bring more of a guy who even though they didn't necessarily win at the level that they probably wanted to in Detroit, always put up good numbers. And just like you said, they were never, even that Calvin Johnson, they just wasn't enough. I mean, either the defense wasn't good enough, the offensive line was good enough, or they didn't have a running game. I think with the Rams, you got the total package on both sides of the field. This Rams team, I mean, 2 years ago, one game they were in the Super Bowl, and I think it proved that Jared Goff in the biggest moments just didn't have what it takes, and they're hoping Matt Stafford does. I mean, you got, solid offensive line. They found their running back in Cam Akers. They got Cooper Kupp on the outside with Robert Woods and Tyler Higbee and Everett at the tight end position. It's a very dynamic offense.
Jared Goff had a quote this past weekend, and he said that he's happy he's going to a team where he's being accepted. Along those lines, don't quote me on that. Was there a rift between him and the Rams, you think, or because of this trade, he got him surprised and was saying some stuff like that?
I think it's just an emotional answer. I don't know if there's any hard feelings. I think it's always, you're always going to take it personally because, they're trading, you're trading away, a team you played hard for and you fought hard for, and to feel like they didn't want to anymore, it's always disheartening. But at the end of the day, it's professional sports, and they got to do what they got to do to win games. And he understands that, and he's going to go to a team that I think, things don't look good for this year. He's probably going to take his lumps. They probably want him to be the starting quarterback. 2 years, I think, I want to say I read $27 million. So he's not a huge, risk for the, Lions to play him as they develop their roster.
He's going to a Detroit, Michigan. You're trading your house from Malibu Beach to a frigid Detroit most of the year, not all the time. New coach, Coach Campbell, Dan Campbell, just got hired on. They fired Matt Patricia not too long ago. Dan Campbell, which I actually am very familiar with, he used to work with the Dolphins. I heard he has something to coach for. Like I mean, this is his time. This is his spotlight. What can this new coach and this new quarterback bring to this Detroit Lions? Is it something that there's a positive, foreseeable future? What do you see so far with the Lions?
Yeah, like we were saying, they're not going to win this year. They're going to give up a lot. This isn't a good roster, but they're getting draft picks. So you're going to get equity to build around. I mean, if anything, that press conference is his introductory conference and kind of out of the blue, kind of ridiculous things, make you feel like Dan Campbell is going to bring some toughness and physicality that Detroit's really lacked. They're going to run the ball. They got DeAndre Swift as a corner running back. So I think they're going to build this running big ball and defense in Detroit. Dan Campbell, like you said, had some success as an interim coach years ago with the Dolphins. Kind of, was out for a couple of jobs and didn't get him and kind of fell into the, backdrop, and here it comes, and I think Detroit, they're looking to change the culture. They were kind of soft the last couple of years. Patricia wasn't really a rah-rah kind of guy, and I think that's what you get with Dan Campbell.
Yeah, Matt Patricia is back with Patriots being an assistant. No official title, but we'll find out more throughout time. Jared Goff has a Kenny Golladay to throw to. Is that something that you can see some promise there?
What was that question, Santiago?
Goff, one of his main receivers is Kenny Golladay. Can you see a good connection there?
Yeah, Golladay is a solid wide receiver. I guess he's got to have to be because there's not much else on the outside right now for Detroit. Like I said, they're going to run the ball with DeAndre Swift. You're sure they do with Adrian Peterson if he comes back or not. But yeah, they're going.
Which he had a good Thanksgiving game. That's all I remember from AD.
Yeah, he's just kind of in those positions where I think he's probably going to want to try to latch on with a title contender than be on a rebuild team in Detroit. So I don't foresee him being on that team, but we'll see. Yeah, like Jared Goff, like I said, he went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. They put up some historic numbers offensively. Remember that Monday Night Football game with Kansas City a couple years ago. Both teams scored over 50 points. But when the big games happened, even in the playoffs, they got him. He wasn't the reason why they got to the Super Bowl in the playoffs. It was their defense and a nice lucky call in the NFC Championship, a lack of pass interference against the Saints, which helped them get to the Super Bowl. But they had a dynamic running game in Todd Gurley, and he was very good off the play action fake. And we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Keep in mind, guys, Rams did make the playoffs this past season. They went all the way to Green Bay, but they lost, and they beat the Seahawks, a divisional rival.
Actually, Jared Goff, he wasn't starting.
Yeah, he came in like second quarter because the third-string quarterback got injured.
Right. He's not okay. But but you can't really judge him on those games because he wasn't fully healthy and he really shouldn't have been out there. So he got it out, and I think that may have been the reason why he had such harsh words because, he played hurt. He gave everything he got, but is what it is, and that's the name of the game in professional sports.
Yeah, my personal opinion, I think, was not worth the trade. I think Goff was the man, the franchise quarterback for the Rams. I don't know what the Rams are seeing, maybe behind the scenes. I'm speculating maybe they just see Stafford is the man there. Maybe he has a better IQ, quarterback IQ. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, like I said, don't judge this trade right now. Judge how each team does. How the Rams do this year and how the Lions use those draft picks to build their team. Like I said, the Goff was more of a throw that in there to make the trade happen in the sense that yes, he's going to be quarterback for the Lions, but he's probably not the future for the Lions.
That leaves one quarterback already signed and done. One other one that's still in the elephant in the room. Deshaun Watson requested.
This is a complicated issue, Santiago.
Yes, requested a trade last week with Houston. Some say that he requested it weeks ago, but it officially came out. Yeah, came out last week. New coach David Culley was announced last week. He wants Deshaun to stay, but that's not enough. Watson's been speculated to the Broncos. It's been speculated to the Dolphins, New England. I think those are the top three teams. Ryan, what have you heard? And do you think this deal will get this done soon?
Some things I've done a little research just to trying to find out what people who know what are saying, and basically it's really up for grabs. I think here's the thing with the Broncos. Obviously, new GM. And they try to go get Matt Stafford, and what the problem is that leaked out that they would try to get Matt Stafford. So now you've got Drew Lock, who's like, this new GM doesn't want me, so he's a little disgruntled. So now do you try to go all in with Deshaun Watson? Throw it in because now that your quarterback isn't really happy that you tried to trade. So we'll see what happens there. The problem is that Deshaun Watson holds all the levers because he does have a no-trade clause, meaning that he can really ultimately pick where he goes. So if he doesn't want to go to the Broncos, he doesn't have to go there. If he wants to go to Miami, where I think there would be a great situation because they have a good roster, the problem is what Miami has to give to the Texans might not be enough. So because they probably have to give two up, obviously, but there's a rumor that the Texans really have no desire to obtain Tua as their future their quarterback. So there's some complications that New England would be the place to go, because they have a obviously successful coach, a decent roster overall, especially on the defensive side. They struggled in the defense, but if you remember, they had 7 opt-outs who will be back most likely this year for the Patriots. So they'll have a much better overall team on the defensive side. And then, they got they got to add weapons on the outside because I think right now there's not much to Patriots have in the wide receiver category that would entice Deshaun Watson to come over, but I think the ability to play for Coach Belichick would help.
Another team that's been brought up, but maybe from Cowboy fans, I'm not sure, and I think I heard someone else that was not a Cowboys fan, Dallas Cowboys. Of course, Dak Prescott is also in the limbo situation where he is a free agent. He could sign with Dallas, but it's been hesitation from the Cowboys' end. Deshaun Watson, it's a little bit. Apparently, I think he's a little bit cheaper than Prescott. How do you see a situation him going to Dallas? A little bit north, a couple of miles up north to Dallas.
It's. I mean, ultimately, I think Dak probably stays with Dallas. I mean, it's always. I don't know how much of an upgrade because I think Dak Prescott's a pretty good quarterback. Deshaun obviously had some great years in Houston, but I don't. You would have to trade for Deshaun Watson. You have to give something up. Where Dak Prescott's a free agent, and really all you give up is a huge contract. And what's making it, and this is a sidebar, what's making this all interesting is the salary cap is, for the first time in a long time, probably going to get lower than it was this year. So that means a lot of teams that have given out these huge contracts in the past are scrambling because they're going to be over the salary cap or they have no room to sign any players. So you're probably going to be looking to a lot of these trades to unload salaries. So some of these, teams with low salary cap numbers right now are going to be able to obtain some good players, but just because teams can't afford to keep all their players.
Before we move this plane off of Houston, Drew Lock, Broncos. There's a lot of haters, or not haters, but not lovers of Drew Lock. Some people say he's not the man. Some people say, well, he's young, give him another season.
Who really dislikes Drew Lock. I don't know what he did to him, but yeah.
Yeah, apparently. Ryan, what are your thoughts over Drew Lock? Do you think he's the man, or would you take a Deshaun Watson right now?
Well, I would take a Deshaun Watson, but what is that going to come and cost? I mean, with Denver, you've got some young weapons. They drafted 2 wide receivers last year.
Jerry Jeudy.
Okay, looking seasons. You lost your best wide receiver coming into this year, Cortland Sutton, so you'll have him back. Young tight ends that are very good. So, yes, I think there's a lot to entice Deshaun Watson. I think I would continually build that offensive line. I don't know if that's the offensive line Deshaun Watson wants to stand behind, which is also the reason why Drew Lock probably has struggled as much as he can because it's his consistency. Yes, some of it's his fault, some of it's he's not the brightest guy in the world, or his decision making isn't on par. But he's got the arm strength, he's got the physical. He's just got to put it all together, and just consistency. Even within the game, have a good quarter, bad quarter. That's what separates players like that is that Aaron Rodgers, or Drew Brees, or Peyton Manning's, they put whole games together. They don't have up and down quarters. So that's what he has to do. But I'm okay keeping Drew Lock. Give him another chance. But if the right prices for Deshaun Watson comes, you can't say no to that.
The question is, do you want to win now or in the future? That is always the question.
Well, I mean, we have they went from the Super Bowl not even 5 years ago not to even make the playoffs since then. So the desire to win now in Denver is quite high.
Ryan, our sportscast watchers are telling us right now. How about the New York Jets? I forgot to mention I forgot to mention the New York Jets. I'm sorry, guys. Ryan, what are your comments about him going to the Jets? Is that a good scenario for Watson?
Absolutely, because you got a good trading pick, a trading asset to get back to Jets as the Rams did to the Lions in the starting quarterback. So you can send a Sam Darnold back to Houston, give them a stopgap while they decide to keep him or draft another quarterback. And yes, I mean the Jets the Jets are one of those teams with a nice salary cap number coming this year, so they can sign or acquire players. And they're very young across the board. Yes, I kind of like that.
Sorry, you Jets fans. I know you love your team so much. It's hard, like they haven't been to the Super Bowl since the 60s. So, yes, Watson would be a good pick. Ryan says it. I approve it. I think it would be a great pick. So we'll see.
The Jets are always, in New York, in these big cities, and you got 2 sports teams. Those secondary teams are always looking to make a splash, and this would be a nice splash for the Jets. To kind of get on the front page of the headlines.
New York Spotlight, New York Post, New York Daily News. You got it. It's all there. Let's move this plane to let's go down to to Green Bay. Sorry about that. Aaron Rodgers said something really unusual, even though he has 3 years left in his contract. He's not sure about the Packers. Today, Matt LaFleur says they asked him about Rodgers has said, no, there's no doubt about it. You're talking about the guy that's going to win the MVP of the league. We're not in the position without him, so I couldn't be happier with not only his performance, but how he led this football team, all the little things he does with that locker room to ensure that everybody is locked in, focused, ready to go. So, yeah, absolutely, he will be here for a long time. I know I've said that before, but for a long time. He's referencing Rodgers possibly leaving Green Bay. And then general manager of the Packers, Brian Gutekunst, also added that he cannot foresee any scenario where he would consider trading Rodgers this year. Absolutely not. Ryan, what are your thoughts? I think he stays in Green Bay, but let me hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't foresee that. I mean, obviously you got the elephant, and when they drafted a quarterback in the first round last year, Jordan Love, but they drafted him in the first round because you get an extra year with a rookie salary in the first round pick. So it gives them a little bit more time to decide if Jordan Love is the man or not. Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP. How do you trade an MVP guy, you know? So, yeah, I don't like before, and the general manager said, there's no really reason to get rid of him right now. Jordan Love probably isn't ready to be the starting. But again, this is a team that probably should be playing in the Super Bowl this weekend. You know, they had a tough little stretch against the Buccaneers and couldn't really recover. So I expect this team to compete for a championship next year with Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback.
Definitely. As Ryan said, Jordan Love got drafted last year. A surprisingly draft. It was a huge draft that got everyone by surprise. Planning for the future, we don't know. It looks like it, but we'll see where this Packer story goes. Philadelphia's new coach, the Eagles, hired Nick Sirianni. He has two quarterbacks. He said that, that this starting position for the quarterback will be competitive, and he's referencing Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz. Ryan, the new coach, hasn't said who will be the starting quarterback, but this is going to be an interesting storyline in Philadelphia.
See, there's a reason why Doug Peterson's not the coach of the Eagles, because he gave up on Carson Wentz. Yeah. Carson Wentz just signed a humongous extension last year before the season. They can't release him. They would take a humongous cut. They couldn't fiscally do that. So Carson Wentz will be the starting quarterback next year. It's kind of, yes, competition may be officially open, but this guy was brought in to kind of give Carson Wentz a second chance, because they got to give it, because they're locked into him for a while. So new coach, new plan, new system. Obviously comes from Indianapolis, which they seem to always have good luck with their quarterbacks and their Frank Reich. So I like it. For Carson Wentz, I think he lost. Doug Peterson lost confidence, and the team lost confidence. So hopefully this coach will bump him up, and not saying you're going to give up on Jalen Hurts, because I think there's a way to still put him into the game plan and use his assets with both of them.
Like what they did in Denver with Tim Tebow.
Yeah, maybe. But
a lot of parallels there.
Those are some wild days, I think, as a Denver fan, it was a fun year to have Tim Tebow as a quarterback. But we all knew it was short-lived, and it was fun while it lasted, but he wasn't a type of caliber of a quarterback you could build a championship team around, and that's what John Elway saw. And when you have a chance to get, one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Peyton Manning, you don't say no to that. But, here's the thing. Carson Wentz isn't Peyton Manning. Jalen Hurts isn't Tim Tebow. They're different. It's a different story, different circumstances. I just think, you can bring – if Carson Wentz has got to understand he's on a short leash, he wants to win. You got this superstar athlete in Jalen Hurts who can help you win by playing a couple plays here and there. He's got to humble himself and then to let Carson Wentz be able to – Jalen Hurts come in there and run those, quarterback runs, So I think if they work the plan together, I think they'd be successful in Philadelphia.
We'll see what happens where the cookie crumbles. Let's move on to the NBA. Wizards defeated the Nets 149-146. It was a stellar game. Russell Westbrook had 41 points. Bradley Beal 37 points. Huge! Wow, it was a huge matchup in the East there, Ryan.
Well, it's just kind of obviously the Nets are trying to put all these pieces together. Harden was out last night. It seems like one of the three is always out every night. But anyways, the Wizards are having a very tough difficulties, and Westbrook and Beal are trying to carry it a little bit. They don't have much else on the roster, but once in a while, you get these superstar players who both have great games, Beal and Westbrook at the same time. You can give you a chance to win, and obviously they got a little bit of luck at 2 3-pointers in the last 4 seconds to tie the game and send it to overtime. But definitely a well-earned victory for the Wizards.
James Harden wasn't visible for the Nets, but Kevin Durant was 37 points. Joe Harris 30 points, and Irving 26 points, and Jeff Green 23. Good stellar teams. Possibly we could see him in the playoffs. Wizards are definitely doing well, so the NBA is definitely shaping up to be a good one, maybe towards the postseason. Anyways, anything else before we head into our poll questions?
Yeah, it's Super Bowl week. Really exciting week. See what's going to happen between the Buccaneers and Chiefs. Like you said, NBA is rounding into shape. As we get, quarter into the season. Same thing with the NHL. Baseball. It looks like they're going to be playing 156 games. So things are still going strong. Maybe a little bit different than usual, but hey, we got sports on, and that's what's important.
If I don't talk to you again, who do you have for the Super Bowl this weekend between the Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs?
I'm gonna go with my heart and say the GOAT gets another one here, and the Buccaneers surprise the Chiefs.
You have a week to change your mind, but it's a strong possibility, And talking about,
I don't think you're gonna change my mind on this. I'm pretty adamant about this.
It's their D-line
Chiefs
versus
are a
Mahomes.
better team. I think the Buccaneers to win the game, though.
It's gonna be a tough one. It'll be close, right?
It'll be. Hopefully, that's all you can ask for. Is really. It's just as a viewer. There's really no horse in the race other than really, as a Broncos fan, don't like the Chiefs, so that's why I'm always going to go against them. But
yeah, and usually Super Bowls are pretty close. Anyways, Twitter poll question of the day: who is your favorite team from Texas? And the choices are the Cowboys, the Texas Longhorns, the Mavericks, Dallas Mavericks, or the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, I use it. My favorite NBA team, Dallas Mavericks. With that being said, we need to break their 5-game losing streak. Santiago. Tonight is the first night of the season that we have all our active players eligible for the game. So hopefully the Mavericks can break their losing streak tonight. So that all eyes are on Texas tonight.
Let's see what happens in the poll. Cowboys, of course, are in first place at 45%. Longhorns at 36%. And then the Mavericks and the Spurs are tied at 9%. So Cowboys always wins, right?
This is a question. Are you a Mark Cuban guy?
What was that?
Are you a big fan of Mark Cuban?
Yes, I am. I like his story of how he became successful, and then of course he's a great influencer on social media. So which he actually does pretty well when it comes to Instagram and Snapchat. So yeah, he provides good tips. Good basketball owner. Yes, he wants to win championships. I know it's difficult to get the players you want, but he tries to get it done though.
Yeah, I think basically when I feel, when I feel about the Mavericks, A, I like their chemistry, and B, I feel like Mark Cuban is an average person who got rich quick, got a lot of money out of staying rich, but he owns a team as a fan owns a team, and I think that's really fun, and it's fun to keep up with him, and obviously, Dallas isn't necessarily a title contender right now, but they definitely are trying to pour the assets into making it.
They're trying to get it done. Anyways, Ryan Christa, what is the best way to reach you to talk to you about the Super Bowl?
Mad Dog Report on Twitter, probably the easiest way to find me.
And you can reach us at the Sportscast1 on Twitter or at thesportscast.net, our website. Read the latest headlines. All week is Super Bowl week here at the Sportscast. We'll be talking about predictions, who's going to win, and all that. It feels like it's 50-50, of course. And I saw this cool tweet, Ryan. It was the current GOAT versus the future GOAT, meaning Brady versus Mahomes.
Absolutely, kind of the passing of the mantle. It's funny, we said that a couple of years ago when they played in the AFC Championship where Tom Brady got by Patrick Mahomes. But this is being in the Super Bowl. It's kind of, this every time the season ends, it could be Brady's last season. I don't know if it will be or not, but
I think he said he'll play for another season. I think.
Come back, but
I believe he said that already. I think he's going to come back for next season.
I think he will, but even the Super Bowl kind of showed up Belichick a little bit. I don't know. Maybe.
You're right. You're right. It could. I know that Gronkowski will be back for sure, but Brady could be up in the air.
Yeah, he's 43 years old.
He could say when at a high note, Yeah,
exactly.
All right. Well, Ryan Christa, always a pleasure.
All right, Santiago. God bless everybody.